Welcome to a two-part series where I'm going to show you how to install a virtual machine which will allow you to run Mac OS on a Windows computer. And in the next part, I'll show you how to install Loop on your iPhone using Xcode. One thing to note here is these instructions are already published online. I am simply just going through with a video tutorial to show you how to do it. And credit to TechViewer for publishing these instructions in the first place. Another thing to note before we start is this is going to use a lot of computer resources because we're going to run two computers on a single computer. So you probably want to check to make sure that your computer can handle this. One way to do that is if you press Control-Shift-Escape. This will open Task Manager. You can click More Details and go over here to Performance, and it'll show you your memory, your disk, and your CPU. Memory is kind of a big part on it. You'll want at least 4 gigs, 8 gigs ideally, and anything above that's great. Just throwing that out there. You can certainly run this on a slower computer. It's just going to run slower when we actually boot Mac OS. Okay, let's get started. We can access these instructions. Either you can click on the link in the description, or I'll show you how to access them with Google. Type in TechViewer, how to install Mac OS Mojave. Now, make sure to look for the VMware. We don't want to use the VirtualBox. I've done both before in the past, and I've had most luck with VMware. Go ahead and click on this link, and that'll bring us up to these instructions we had before. So you can read through these. We are going to download the Mac OS Mojave image. I'm going to use the latest version. There could be a newer version when you view this video. This is a large file. It's about 6.5 gigs and will take a while to download. Okay, we're going to want it to install Google Drive, one full. Click download. Go ahead and download the file. Now sometimes you'll get download quota exceeded for this file, so you can't download at this time. The reasoning for this is so many people have downloaded it in the last so many hours that Google is no longer allowing people to download it for the next little bit. So you either can wait, or we're going to use Mediafire to download. Go ahead and click download. And I'm going to put everything in a desktop file. I'm going to name it VMware. And save it. Now it is 6.5 gigs and it is going to take quite a while. While that's waiting, let's go ahead and download some of the other stuff. We're going to need the patch tool. Go ahead and click the RAR file and download that. We're also going to need WinRAR. You may already have it. This just allows us to extract the file that the Mac OS image is in. Choose the correct one for your computer. Most likely a 64-bit. And then we're going to download the VMware player. Now while those are downloading, we're going to go ahead and open where they were installed. And we're going to install WinRAR. Then we're going to extract the patch tool. Once that's extracted, we don't need the original compressed file. Go ahead and delete that. And at this point, we're going to wait for the rest of our downloads to finish downloading, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, now that it's downloaded, we are going to also extract our image. Click Extract here. This will take a few minutes. While that's extracting, we can go ahead and install the VM player. Go ahead and go through the instructions. I usually click this. I am not 100% certain if it's necessary or not. Our macOS Mojave image has finished extracting, and we finished installing the VM thing. I'm going to go ahead and restart my computer, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, my computer's done restarting now. We now can delete this file here now that it's done extracting. And I'm also going to delete WinRAR and VM player. Now don't follow along with me right here. I'm just going to show you something. We open up the virtual machine. And we're going to use it for free. When we go to create a new virtual machine, it does not let us select a macOS operating system. So what we're going to do is, you can now follow along, open up the patch tool, and under Win Install, right click and Run as an Administrator. Click Yes on the screen that's going to pop up, let it install. Now, when we open up the virtual machine, we're going to create a new virtual machine. We'll select an operating system later. We can click a Apple Mac OS X. If this does not appear, that's because the patch tool did not install properly. And the version is going to be 10.14, which is Mojave. Click Next. Choose where you want to install the location. I'm going to browse and change this and put this in my desktop in that file I had with my other VM files. Go ahead and click Store Virtual Disk as a single file, and go ahead and finish it. Now we're going to edit this virtual machine, and we're going to come here to Hard Disks, and we're going to click Remove. Go ahead and click Add, Hard Disk, Next, click SATA, and use an existing virtual disk. Now we're going to browse where we installed our Mac OS Mojave disk image. I have mine installed on my desktop. Go ahead and open it. And we're also going to change the memory allocation. This is how much memory your virtual machine or the Mac OS can use. So I have 16 gigs of RAM. I'm going to go ahead and allocate about 10 gigs. And I'm going to give about I have 4 processor cores. I'm going to give it 3. You don't want to go over about 70% of your resources. You can check what you have by hitting Control-Shift-Escape. This will open Task Manager. You can click Performance, and under CPU we can see that I have 4 cores and 4 logical processors, and under Memory I have 16 gigs. I'm going to click OK. And I can now, don't click Play Virtual Machine just yet. There's one thing we need to do really quick. Go ahead and come back to the file where you created the original hard disk for your virtual machine. I did it under this file, and we're going to edit this file right here. It's the 3-file icon. Right click, Open With. You can click More Apps, Notepad. Now we're going to go back to the instructions, and we're going to scroll down right here, and we're going to copy this bit of code, and we're going to add it to the end of this file. You can click Control S or File Save. Go ahead and close it. Now you can open your VMware workstation and click Play Virtual Machine. Notice your virtual machine may be running slower if you have less processor and RAM allocation dedicated to it. Another thing that can help is close all your programs on your Windows computer, especially Chrome will consume a lot of RAM, and this will help your computer run quicker. The first time it boots up, it will take longer. I've noticed in the next time we boot it, it's usually faster. From here, it's going to ask us to set up a Mac like it normally would if you had a Mac. I'm going to select United States. That's where I'm located. US keyboard. And go ahead and put your Apple ID. If you don't have one, you can create a new Apple ID. Put in my password. I'm going to go ahead and verify. Agree to the terms and condition. Go ahead and set up your password. If yours was anything like mine, that took quite a while, 5 or 8 minutes or so. Go ahead and continue. I am actually not going to choose this because I have a lot of files that I don't want stored on this virtual machine. Your preference may be different. And I'm going to try the new dark theme that is new with Mojave. Okay, now we've got to the desktop. Now normally you would have an icon up here that would say VMware Tools, and you go ahead and install VM Tools and follow the rest of these instructions. I'm not sure why mine did not come up. I've done this in the past and I've used the Google Drive file and that has brought it up, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed, and I believe everything's been working normally here, so I'm not too concerned about it. This is a Mac computer and it actually runs decently fast. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to install Xcode so we can install Loop on your iPhone.